Hey friends, this is Raven Fed and I'm Reverend Lisa Talbot. In this series, we are dabbling in spiritual practices. We are not dedicating ourselves to a particular practice yet. We're just playing with and experimenting with a bunch of different kinds of spiritual practices so that you can see what's speaking to you at this particular season of your life. I'm getting ready to go on a week-long self-guided writing retreat, and you can see that I'm gathering up some resources and notebooks and books and office supplies that I'm going to be taking with me. But one thing that this writing retreat is going to include is the spiritual practice of fasting. Now, most of the time, when you hear the word fasting, you probably think of restricting food or drink. Oftentimes, during seasons like Lent, people will stop drinking alcohol, they'll stop eating chocolate or other sweets. There are other kinds of fasting. You hear a lot these days about intermittent fasting as a health and wellness practice. So oftentimes, fasting refers to food. But that doesn't work for me. I have a chronic illness, I have to take medications, and I need regular meals. I can't skip meals very easily. So I'm going to be practicing a different kind of fasting. I'm going to be fasting from social media. There are lots of different ways to fast, lots of different ways to restrict your consumption of things that are not good for you. And so consider things that you might need to fast from in your life in order to be spiritually healthier. Right now, we are in a very toxic election cycle, and I know that my anxiety skyrockets when I watch the news. And so perhaps a practice, if you're feeling similar, would be fasting from the news or choosing to just watch the news certain days of the week. You might choose to fast from social media. Sometimes we believe the lie of social media that what people put on social media is real life when we really understand that what we see are people's best lives on social media, not their real lives. Sometimes that can lead to a real sense of comparison and envy, jealousy, or frustration, and taking a break from social media can help with that. Maybe there's a particular type of social media that you need to fast from, something that doesn't fill you with joy, but instead can heighten your anxiety or increase your frustration or make you feel angry, and you need to fast from that for a little while. There's a lot of ways that you can do this. You can fast certain hours of the day. For example, you might say that after 8 p.m. and before 8 a.m., you're not going to pick up your phone. Maybe it is certain days of the week. My day off is Monday. And so every Monday I do my very best. I don't always do it, but I do my best to fast from social media on Mondays. I try to make Mondays my digital detox day, where I leave my phone in another room, I don't open my computer, and I just have a full day completely away from the consumption of media. It might be something like that for you, hours of a day or a full day. You might decide that every weekend you're going to fast from social media, or that 1 week out of the month you'll take a break. So the news, media, social media are all excellent ways to fast these days, of removing some of the consumption that maybe heightens your anxiety, in order to give yourself a little bit of breathing room and space to recognize and feel gratitude for the joys in your own life. There are so many different things that we can fast from. And one of the things that this practice calls us to do is to think about what is distracting us from our purpose. What is impeding our progress on our spiritual journey? What are roadblocks along the way? This is going to look different for everybody. Maybe the thing that you need to fast from is online shopping. Maybe that has become a financial road bump for you, that it's a comfort activity to do while we are more sedentary and isolated during the pandemic, and yet it's not good for your bank account, and it is distracting you from other things that you could be doing. Perhaps it is the social media aspect of it, the news. Perhaps it's binging Netflix. It is very easy to want to take a break and end up taking a binge instead. We also have seen that alcohol consumption has risen considerably during the pandemic. So a lot of people do things like take a sober October, which this is the perfect time to start that, where they give themselves a break from alcohol for a month to allow their bodies to reset, their sleep patterns to get back aligned, and to just take care of their bodies in a healthier way. Probably the same is true about junk food. I bet all of our junk food consumption has gone up quite a bit. I know mine has, particularly when I sit at my desk editing so much. I love having a bowl of Jelly Bellies next to me. And so there are a lot of different ways that you can fast. So I would invite you first to think about those things that are distracting you from what you're feeling called to do, what you want to do, what you feel like your purpose is. Think about those things that maybe get in your way, and then decide how to fast from that. Is it going to be certain hours of the day? Is it going to be certain days of the week, certain weeks of the month? How can you give yourself a break from that thing that is distracting you from living the life that you're called to live, and take a break from it? This next week on retreat, I am going to be deleting Facebook from my phone. I am going to keep it on my computer because I might have to pop on and do a little bit of work on Facebook, but I am not going to mindlessly, endlessly doom scroll through Facebook, because that takes a huge amount of time and attention and heightens my anxiety. And so I am going to allow myself some Instagram and a little bit of YouTube, because I know I'm going to want to take some brain breaks from reading and writing and study. But I do know that for me, Facebook is the one social media outlet that becomes the most toxic and anxiety inducing for me. So I leave on Monday morning, so when I go to bed on Sunday night, the last thing I do before I lay down is going to be to delete the Facebook app from my phone, so I can spend the week without that temptation to distract myself and to waste time. Consider how you can play with fasting. Again, we are not dedicating ourselves to a lifelong practice right now. We're just dabbling. So experiment. Think about, what is your distraction right now? What is preventing you from doing the things that you want to be doing? What is impeding the life that you are called to live? And how can you give yourself a much deserved break? So I invite you to try fasting. I hope that you will like this video and subscribe to my channel as we continue to play with spiritual practices. Thanks for being here today.